Nigeria and Sweden explore more areas of education linkages. The Senegalese government is indicating interest to strengthen partnership with Nigeria for peace building in the West African sub-region. Minister of African Integration and Foreign Affairs of Senegal, Yassine Fall, indicated this on a visit to President Bola Tinubu. The special envoy was in the State House to deliver the message of the Senegalese President, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. After a meeting with President Tinubu, Mrs. Fall also revealed to State House correspondents that her country is also interested in increasing the level of partnership with Nigeria.
We want to really strengthen to a whole new level the economic relation between Senegal and Nigeria, as we are going now to exploiting oil and natural gas in developing this industry in Senegal. There are many opportunities that we need to foster and promote between Senegal and Nigeria. We are also sharing, the situation of peace building efforts in the region, in ECOWAS and in Africa. As we go towards the African Union Summit, it is important for leaders in the sub-region to exchange views and strengthen the position of also West Africa in African Union.
Apologies for the slight audio issues in that report. In the meantime, Chadian President Mahamat Idris Deby on Friday welcomed the definitive and complete departure of French forces from Chad. This marks the end of France's last foothold in the Sahel region. Rama Pani reports.
After a closed-door military ceremony a day earlier, Deby addressed Chadian forces and diplomats at an event in the capital in N'Djamena. The handover of the Kossi base, the French Army's last of such facility in the Central African country, follows Chad's surprise breaking off of military cooperation with its former colonial ruler in late November. We are not breaking off our relationship with France, but we are ending the military dimension of this cooperation, Deby said, at the base where only the Chadian flag is now flying. Chad must build an even stronger, better equipped army and forge new alliances based on mutual respect and without losing sight of the demands of independence and sovereignty, he added. Soldiers and fighter aircraft from France have been stationed in Chad almost continuously since the country's independence in 1960, helping to train the Chadian military. The largely desert country had been a key link in France's military presence in Africa and its last foothold in the wider Sahel region after the forced withdrawal of French troops from Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger in the wake of military coups. France is now reconfiguring its military presence in Africa. Meanwhile, Senegal is negotiating the withdrawal of French forces by the end of this year, and Paris's military presence in Côte d'Ivoire and Gabon is being cut back. A French base in Djibouti, which hosts 1,500 troops, is being developed as a launching pad for future missions in Africa. Frama Pani, NTA News.
In the meantime, leaders and ministers from the Southern African Regional Group gathered in the Zimbabwean capital Friday ahead of a summit on the conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, which has raised concerns for regional security. Let's hear again from Frama Pani.
16-nation Southern African Development Community, SADC, was called after the Rwandan-backed armed group M23 captured most of the city of Goma in the DRC's mineral-rich east this week in an escalation of violence spanning decades. 13 soldiers from South Africa and 3 from Malawi have been killed in the conflict since last Friday, most of them part of SADC peacekeeping mission deployed in the area in 2023. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was due in Harare, but Malawi's leader will be represented by the country's foreign minister, their office said. Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan, who heads SADC's defense grouping, arrived early Friday, as did the Foreign Minister of Angola, who will represent President João Lourenço. Lourenço, the African Union-appointed mediator in the conflict, again urged the leaders of Rwanda and the DRC to return to negotiations with a view to a summit in Luanda as a matter of urgency. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame refused to attend the meeting with his Congolese counterpart Felix Tshisekedi in Luanda mid-December. Rwanda is not part of the SADC, currently chaired by Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa, but the DRC is a member. Rwanda has never admitted to military involvement in the conflict, but alleges that the DRC supports and shelters the FDLR armed group created by former Hutu leaders who massacred Tutsis during the 1994 Rwandan genocide. This week, Kagame charged that the SADC deployment in the DRC was not a peacekeeping force and it has no place in the situation. The SADC mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo deployed to the eastern DRC in December 2023 to restore peace and security amid growing instability. It is made up of about 2,900 troops from Malawi, South Africa, and Tanzania. Frama Panyi, NTA News.
Now, leveraging technology to improve skills and educational growth among youths across the globe was the hallmark of a pre-global education conference held at the Swedish Embassy in Abuja. Francis Udojo tells us more.
With most developed countries leveraging technology to enhance an all-round development, the Sweden-Nigeria Education Exchange Conference couldn't have come at a better time than now, as it aims at setting a platform where collaboration between academics and academia, industries, government could be formed to innovate, do research together, and prepare the youth for the future. This is to ensure that the educational system in Nigeria is sustainable and of global standard.
Our aim mission is to ensure that every youth and every graduate, together with their degree, also has a certificate in a digital skill to ensure complete digital literacy in Nigeria.
It's about creativity, it's about innovation, but not locally. Now it's going to be globally.
This is the first out of three three-step events that has been organized by Global Wissen and School Try. These are Swedish-Nigerian entities that the Embassy of Sweden has been supporting for a few years now. We're working very hard to see that Nigeria embraces a transition that is green, that is sustainable, but also we're doing this across different sectors, and education is one of it.
Population of students in just the university system is about 2.5 million in Nigeria. So if you have that kind of market and you have those kind of students engaged in whatever platform you're using, you can imagine how huge that market is.
Guests at the panel dialogue believe that the collaboration between the two countries will enhance investment and economic growth, sharing of ideas, giving Nigeria's estimated population of 232.7 million. In Abuja, Francis Udojo, NTA News.
In other news, Nigeria is one of the countries to benefit from the emergency waiver to 55 countries by the U.S. president. The waiver, announced by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, allows funding from the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, to flow uninterrupted despite a broader 90-day suspension of foreign development assistance. Director General, National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, Dr. Temitope Lori, in a statement, commended the U.S. government for issuing the emergency waiver to ensure that millions of people living with HIV continue to receive life-saving treatment under the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. PEPFAR, she noted, is the largest global initiative targeting the HIV/AIDS epidemic, providing antiretroviral therapy to more than 20 million people worldwide. The Director General of NACA observed that Nigeria has the highest number of people living with HIV in West and Central Africa, noting that the recent executive order by the new U.S. administration to reevaluate and realign United States foreign aid, which includes a 90-day pause on foreign development assistance, has raised significant concerns among stakeholders with regards to HIV/AIDS and TB technical support and funding. The National Assembly has set up a technical planning committee to organize a Nigeria-China Sustainable Trade, Investment and Bilateral Relations Summit this year. The key objectives of the summit include showcasing credible investment opportunities and market-ready projects for investor engagements. It also aims to strengthen Nigeria-China relations as leading global economic and business partners. Chairman House of Representatives Committee on Nigeria-China Parliamentary Relations, Jafaru Yakubu, inaugurated the Technical Planning Committee to be led by Kunle Yusuf of Merited Negotiation Consulting. It comprises representatives from key entities, including the Chinese Embassy, the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, the National Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, as well as the Lagos and China Chambers of Commerce. The House Committee called for synergy with Merited Negotiation Consulting to ensure the success of the proposed summit. Now, Ghana is creating a new board to help boost trading of its gold resources as a way of tackling the country's weakened currency. The government plan is to optimize formal trading of the precious metal, which it hopes will shore up its foreign exchange reserves.
Ghana is Africa's largest gold producer. The artisanal and small-scale mining industry contributes about 50% of gold production. Last year, total gold exports from Ghana hit nearly $12 billion, according to the central bank. But experts say illegal mining has been the bane of the industry for many years, causing the nation to lose millions of dollars from the precious metal as a result of smuggling. To address the concern, the government is setting up the Ghana Gold Board to help drive more benefits.
The Ghana Gold Board will be mandated to regulate and streamline the gold sector, particularly the small-scale gold. The Ghana Gold Board will act as the sole buyer of gold from the legal small-scale mining sector through licensed aggregators and local traders.
The government has inaugurated a technical committee to draft the legal and operational framework for the Ghana Gold Board.
We want to ensure that we maximize the benefits we get from our gold resources, not only from the mining, but also across the entire value chain, from buying, the purchasing, to the selling, assaying, the exports, the refining, the value addition, and so on and so forth. We'll be doing a lot to support the development and formalization of that sector.
Ghana's newly formed government has inherited a country reeling under high inflation and a depreciating currency. The government hopes that the Ghana Gold Board, when operational, will help strengthen the country's local currency, cedi, and also stabilize the economy.
Tazama Pipelines in Zambia has introduced a drag-reducing agent, DRA, to facilitate the smooth and more efficient flow of diesel. DRA is a chemical reagent that reduces friction in the pipelines and increases the movement of gas oil. The DRA has increased the daily pumping capacity of diesel from 2.8 million litres to 3.6 million.
The Tazama pipeline plays a vital role in fueling the economy by transporting diesel. However, its performance has struggled to meet growing demand. To improve efficiency, management has introduced a chemical reagent to increase daily pumping capacity from 2.8 million to 3.6 million litres.
This innovation will change our dynamics in terms of economic growth. The introduction of the drag-reducing agent is a strategic response to these demands. And also we are going to reduce the pressure on our roads because, colleagues, it's very expensive to maintain roads.
Energy Minister Makoze Chikote also shared the vision for the pipeline's future.
We are going to start another new pipeline to supplement to what we have done so far.
Tazama fully funded the $900,000 project.
With the increased flow rates and the transportation fee of $54 per metric ton, the project is expected to achieve a return on investment within 2 months of operation.
The government of Tanzania extends its assurance of support that we will continue supporting Tazama to see that you perform even better.
We all know that energy is the lifeblood of any economy. For us to live, we depend entirely on this pipeline.
Management takes pride in the project's success, driven by local engineers from both Tanzania and Zambia.
The implementation and rollout of the DRA was work that was entirely done by our own Tazama local engineers from Zambia and Tanzania with no expatriate at all.
The addition of the drag-reducing agents on the pipeline will improve efficiency and increase pumping capacity of diesel. This means that the supply of diesel on the market will increase to meet the growing demand of the commodity.
On to the news on NTA International. We'll take a short break. More reports in a moment.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their social economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, 1 person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, 1 person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary health care center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
You're welcome back. Now, service, visionary leadership and dedication to peace, security and nation building are some of the words used to describe Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, the former Chief of Army Staff, at the 6th edition of the award night hosted by our Nigerian news magazine held in Abuja. Ramapanya reports that the decision to name the award after Buratai reflects his legacy of discipline, innovation and collaboration in leadership.
With the theme, Nigeria Rising, Celebrating Excellence and Charting the Future marks the 6th in the series. And here, the decision to name the award after the longest-serving Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, is a reflection of his commitment to nation building and tackling the country's security challenges.
Wonderful man, great Nigerian. He has the T.Y. Borotai Excellence Award in Military Leadership endowed in his name. He is a general like none other. This is the first chief of army staff who, when he came, Nigeria territories were taken over by Boko Haram. He relocated the command headquarters of the Nigerian army from Abuja to the theater of operations and led from the front.
My long service in the armed forces, Nigerian army in particular, and also the very strategic role I play as Chief of Army Staff have been quite rewarding. And as you can see, great impacts have been made in terms of developing the Nigerian Army infrastructure, in training, in logistics, in general administration, and in operations. These are quite important milestones that one has achieved while serving as Chief of Army Staff.
Lieutenant General Lamidi Adeosun of the Nigerian Army and Brigadier General Mike Mukokomani of Botswana received the 2024 T.Y. Borotai Excellence Award for their remarkable contributions to military leadership and nation building.
Very elated and encouraged, because when God was using me and my troops to do all those things for their country, I wasn't looking for any or thinking that days like this will come.
I've had the privilege of working with General Borotai before. I've known him before. I know his dedication to duty, his dedication to doing a lot of things in the service of other people, in the service of his country, and he's very meticulous in a lot of things that he does.
Exemplary leadership and commitment to nation building are some of the criteria for the attainment of these awards. Frama Panyi, NTA News.
The National Association of Women Judges of Nigeria is leading an advocacy for placing premium on merit in the attainment of positions. Judiciary correspondent Dele Atumbi tells us more.
Gender equity resonates as women judges converge on Abuja to consider issues relating to breaking the leadership barriers for women in the legal profession. They did not limit the issues to the legal profession, but they are equally concerned with the progression of women career-wise. The forum agrees that women have made remarkable progress in the legal profession, assuming leadership positions and shaping judicial thought. In spite of this development, the forum is of the view that many challenges still impede the advancement of women. The forum is addressing these obstacles, proposing sustainable solutions, and creating a more inclusive and equitable legal landscape.
It cannot be disputed that women possess innate skills that are critical to nation building, and that they have a crucial role to play in the promotion of policies that are gender sensitive and which provide greater access to justice.
Women hold the key to Nigeria's development, or any country's development. Yet several cultural, socio-economic, and political hindrances continue to conspire against and block their access to the power necessary to actualize and turn the key to development.
Lack of support in the home, working conditions that are not favorable to women, frequent posting of women with young families, gender bias, and lack of mentorship programs, the forum identifies as some of the barriers.
While this progress is indeed commendable, we are, however, very mindful of the fact that challenges to women leadership still exist in the legal profession.
It is hoped that your deliberations would be enriched by the wealth of knowledge and perspectives that each of you brings to the table.
The forum agrees that though significant strides have been achieved in the association's commitment to equality in leadership, there is room for improvement. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has appointed Abba Abubakar Aliu as the substantive managing director of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA. The appointments, effective January 23rd, 2025, is for an initial term of 4 years. Aliyu has been acting as the agency's managing director since March 2024. Previously, he was head of the project management unit at the Nigeria Electrification Project, general manager of corporate services, projects and research, and deputy general manager at Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading PLC. Legal experts have frowned at the continued disobedience of the provisions in the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which were meant to enhance effective justice delivery in the country. President, Center for Social Legal Studies, Professor Yemi Akinse George, SAN, stated this while briefing journalists on the forthcoming sensitization meeting with stakeholders on effective implementation of the national minimum standards of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act in Abuja. Austin Anyebe reports.
Administration of Criminal Justice in Nigeria, Professor Yemi Akinse George, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, decried the violation of some provisions of AJA adopted by stakeholders in the justice system.
Adjournments in criminal cases should not exceed 14 days. This has now been adopted as a national standard across the country. Unfortunately, this provision is routinely disregarded by prosecutors, defense lawyers, and courts, and thereby leading to indefinite delays in criminal trials.
He attributed the causes of these persistent delays to premature arraignment of suspects when the prosecution is not prepared for trial, excessive workload on prosecutors, and inadequate supervision, deliberate delay tactics by defense lawyers, inefficient pre-trial case management, among others.
All cases must not go to trial. Some can be plea bargained once the conditions are met and once the guidelines are observed. We cannot overemphasize this to our prosecutors. You don't have enough resources, so you don't have to prosecute all cases. Why don't
These realities inform the development of the national minimum standards, which identify priority provisions that all courts and criminal justice institutions must implement without exception. But because the national minimum standards is not widely known, the Center for Social Legal Studies, through its advocacy to strengthening democracy and enhancing justice sector performance, is raising awareness and mobilizing support for the full implementation of the national minimum standards. The event scheduled for February 2025. And to address the myriad of challenges in the justice sector, the center is calling on the Chief Justice of Nigeria for a holistic adoption of technology to modernize judicial processes in the country. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
And that report concludes NTA International News at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Sadegunloye. My sign language interpreter has been Hannah Olainka. Well done.